Okay, we are now in June. Things should be heating up for the summer season. Looking at the numbers, things may have started to slow down for summer. Gonna be a weird ride. Steve, Malone home team, EXP in the Atlanta area. All right, let's break it all down. We do this at the beginning part of the month. It's now June 7th. We've given all the numbers a couple days to come in, kind of register and whatever, taking a look at some of the trends. I want to set the stage first. In the summertime, we always see a lull in summertime. It happens early to mid-July and lasts through Labor Day. What is that? Typically, if somebody wants to make a move during the summertime for schools or whatever, they're going to go out, they're going to find their house, whatever, they're going to be under contract, and they're going to be moved before school starts. Like in Gwinnett County, it seems like school starts like before school ends now. But in Gwinnett County, where we are, it's like that first day of August almost. It's like that all across the metro Atlanta area. So people want to have a house in hand by the beginning of July and moved and done by the end of July, beginning of August. So it's a noticeable change in the pattern once you get into the early to mid part of July. There are not as many people out looking for houses. Okay. Now last year that came a lot sooner because the interest rates got above 6%. The buyers said, we are out of here. We're done. So like around June 12th-ish, when the interest rates got past 6%, that was it. The summer market was done, and the fall market never got off the ground. So we had about 6 months of just ghost town real estate all across the country. So fast forward to this year. Beginning part of the year, things were doing good. Interest rates were down a little bit. They were nowhere near where they were, but they were down in the low sixes. They were on their way to being in the upper fives to mid fives at some point. Everybody was in a good mood. The buyers were back. They were used to the craziness. They were back. Then something happened on the way to better real estate. The interest rates decided we're not going to go down to 5. We're going to actually bounce back up close to 7. Interest rates have held high. There's been all kinds of craziness going on that have held the interest rates high. Unemployment has stayed low. It's good news because you want low unemployment, but it's bad news because it's good economic news. As we say all the time, bad economic news is great for mortgage rates. Good economic news is not good for mortgage rates. And that's good economic news if the unemployment is way low. Inflation's better, but it's not all the way back. There's a lot of things that we're tracking. But you track them all, interest rates are holding the 6s. And they're trending upwards. They're close, and actually last week got into the 7s. So we got a report today that said interest rates, or mortgage demand, I should say, because of the interest rates, mortgage demand was down 4 weeks in a row. And much lower than it was this time last year, and it was down 4 weeks in a row. Going into what's supposed to be the busier time of year, interest rates are down, or mortgage demand, I should say, is down 4 weeks in a row. So I say all that to say there is going to come a time when the buyers say, we're done. We're going to go into the summer swoon and come back in the fall. And then there's also the summer. So there's a summer like peak season, and then there's the break. Where does that stop? Normally, again, early to mid-July, it may be setting up to stop and start and whatever and make that transition pretty darn quick. So I say all that to say if you want to sell your house this summer, man, we got to get a sign in the car and let's rock and roll and get this done. Okay. If you're looking to buy, I say wait a month. You're going to get a deal. Okay. All bets are off once the interest rates come down, but that's a snapshot of where we are. Now, I want to show you numbers coming out of May into June to show you exactly where we are because some things are trending in the right direction. Some things are trending in interesting directions. So I want to show you the stats and then we'll wrap it up all at the end. So let's break down the numbers. I'll try not to be nerdy. You know I get nerdy. You know I love the numbers. But let's break down some stats. Here we go. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on in the metro Atlanta area. Looking at the numbers, we'll make it real quick. This is Greater Atlanta, May into June. Okay, we're going to look at the last year to make this easy to see the trends. This is sales price average. See, we peaked at 520 last June, and then we had a dip, all the way down to January of this year, down to 441 was the average. Average has gone up every month. And last month, we shot back to 527, 287 on the average. Higher than anywhere we were last year. Home values are going up. Obviously, it's not an exact, this means that, that means this. But the good news is we have home values, or the sales prices are going up, low inventory, buyers are back, home prices, home values are definitely going up. All right. When we look at the percentage of list price on average, it has been going up too. We're at 99.9% of list price. We're way up at 103 in May of last year, dipped to 97.8 back in January. Now we're up to 99.9. I'm trying to show you some of the other cool things that's going on right now. Price per square foot. This is an interesting one too. On average, last year during the peak, all the craziness is at 216. Everything dipped down here, then came back up. We're at 216, same as we were last year. So all signs show to whatever dip we had last year has been erased. We're done. We're out of it. We've leveled back up. Here we are. All right. That's the good news. All right. Now I want to show you some very interesting things. Okay. Pending sales. Keep in mind, we're coming out of May into June. Let's look at the last 5 years to get a better idea. Because what happened over the last couple months is they've gone down. March was up, then April down, May down. Let's not worry about pandemic. Let's go back to 2019. 2019, we had a big number in March, big number in April, big number in May. Year before, big number in March, big number in April, a little bit less in May, but still big numbers in the sevens, all 3 months, okay? That was just regular real estate. If you go into the pandemic, it was kind of crazy during May and June. And then the last couple of years, March, April, May, June, we're holding in the sevens. Then last year, April, May was at 6,800 and June came down a little bit to 6. All right, now, where are we now? We're in the fives in March, fives in April, and just under the fives in the fours in May. We're going down a lot earlier than we typically do on pending sales, okay? Closed sales were up a little bit, not much, but a little bit, but still, this is much lower compared to, let's go before the pandemic. You know, in May or March, we had 6,100, April 67, May we had 7,853. You know, last month we had 5,000. A couple years ago, that same time period, we had like close to 8,000. Same thing the year before that. We're supposed to be rocking and rolling. We're doing like okay. All right. The other thing I want to show you is months supply, because when you look at the number of homes that are actually for sale, they've been holding steady in the nines, 9,500, 9,400, 9,040, 9,195. A lot more than there were last year during the peak of the craziness, because it was the lack of inventory that really drove all the crazy prices in 21 and 22. But we should have more homes than this at this point. You look at the number of new listings that were added. We added 7,000 listings last month. That's not bad. It's on par with what we did in March. I think some sellers are coming out right now, but the buyers, I think, are already starting to slow down a little bit. It's like one of the better months we've had since September. Okay, so we had the big drop all the way into December on new listings, and then new listings are coming back on. But when you take into account all the new listings, take into account all the pending sales, month supply, we talk about this number a lot. Anything that's under 5 is a seller's market. Under 3 is a very strong seller's market. Under 2 is an extreme seller's market. We've been in an extreme seller's market. We've been in a seller's market for a very long time. Okay, that's not going to change because we don't have the inventory. The question is, where are the buyers? Because we have homes for sale. We have 9,000 homes for sale. Last year, we only had the same time frame, something like 8,000 homes for sale. The year before that, April, May, and June, we had like 7,000, 8,000 homes for sale. And we were selling all of them because the buyers wanted stuff. This is why. Fixed mortgage rates. We're going to go all the way back to June of last year. Okay, got this off of Mortgage News Daily. This is what I follow. If you want to keep up with the mortgage rates and drive yourself crazy, this is where I would go. Mortgage rates last year, they got above 6% around June 14th. That was literally the time period that everything came to a crashing halt. Okay, so that's the thing that we all need to keep in mind. That's when everything shut down for the summertime and for a while. Even though rates came back down In August, actually down to the fives, the buyers had already walked away for the fall, or for the summertime rather. Then the rates came back up, and then the rates came back up. But we were thinking to ourselves, maybe if these rates hold in the fives, maybe what's going to happen is we're going to have a decent fall. A little break, we'll have a decent fall. Then what happened? Interest rates started coming up. So by Thursday, September 1st, they were above 6 again. Around Labor Day, they were back to 6.25, and then they shot back up. They got to 7 by the end of September. That was it, folks. That was the end of the fall season last year. They've been holding in the 7s, got back in the 6s back in November. And then, let's see, they kept going and holding in the 6s, and that's where we've been, in the 6s, okay? We got to about, let's say, the beginning part of the year was here, and they were in the low 6s. By this point, the buyers said, rates are in the low 6s, let's just do it, whatevs. This is what the rates are going to do. So a lot of people jumped in January. Then rates spiked back to 7, kind of had a little hiccup, then they came back down, everybody jumped back in. It's like, all right, here comes spring, 6.16, we're doing great, piece of cake, and then they came back up again. Interest rates are going to do this yo-yo thing. At some point, the rates are going to get below 6%. I have guessed several times when that would happen. I was wrong. I'm not doing it anymore. I've said it before. I will retire in 25 years. Before I retire, the rates will get below 6%. I'm pretty confident in saying that. That's all you're going to get out of me, okay? But here's the thing I want you to see. This is the last year. I want you to hit the max button. This takes you back to 1971. You remember back, some of you might, in the 80s, 18% for some of the rates back then. And you see, they came down. Where are we now? We're like 6.75, right? Something like that, in the mid 6s. If you go back on this little handy dandy chart, we haven't seen rates consistently in the mid 6s since 07, where it was kind of there, and then they came back down. But really, the 7s, that's really more like late 01, early 02. It's been 20 years since we've seen rates this high. And I've made these videos in the past where I talk to people and I basically say, because you'll hear a lot of people say, oh, these rates today are nothing compared to way back here in the 80s when you had interest rates in the 18s. That's bad real estate. Those are bad numbers. The problem we have is people are sitting on a 2% or 3% mortgage on a house that's gone up 50% or 100%, I should say, in value in the last 5 years. Okay? So I talked about all the numbers. Now I want to break this down for you because I want to tell you a story real quick. But those are the numbers. That's where we are. Now let's put a bow on it. What does it mean? Okay, so what does it mean? I got a buddy of mine who she's selling a house, and she's a listing agent, and we're friends. And she thought it was kind of funny. She's like, I know you have a big family. You got 6 kids, 7 on the way. You like doing the grilling and the smoking and the stuff in the backyard. And so I got this house I'm selling. It's $800,000. But it's got a big backyard, it's a big house. Be perfect for your family. And I was like, I'm not buying an $800,000 house right now, but thank you. I'm flattered, but thank you. That's okay. But it got me to thinking. And what I bought my house for 6 years ago, because I bought it in 17, I bought it for $277 in Beaufort in 2017. The house is now worth like just a hair over 5 right now. I also have a 3% mortgage on it. If I were to sell that house, this house that I'm in right now, and I were to buy an $800,000 house, the current rate, what would it cost me? My mortgage would go up 3 times. I crap you not. 3 times higher than it is right now. Okay? I say all that to say there's a lot of people in this market right now who aren't doing anything because their home prices have doubled in the last 6 years. They're sitting on a 2% or 3% mortgage, and the next house that they want is going to cost them, mortgage-wise, 3 times what they're paying right now. And they can't find a house that's 3 times nicer than the house they're in right now. There's no inventory, okay? And that's not going to change. The only thing that's going to change that is if these rates come down. Okay, I think my guess, you'll have some traffic the next couple weeks. It's not going to be like it was last year. Last year was a definitive. You could hear the market come to an end in the middle of June. I think it's going to be a slow regression to where by the end of June, summer's done. But summer's on its way to being done right now. That's my opinion. Because rates are not going to get low enough, fast enough to save the summer market. And 4 weeks in a row of the mortgage demand going down, going into summer, we're done. That's my guess. Then it's going to be quiet from early July through Labor Day. What happens to the rates between now and Labor Day? That's going to define what happens later. When the rates get below 6%, I cannot stress this enough. So hashtag save this, bookmark this, whatever. When the rates get below 6%, everybody and their mother's hairdresser are coming back into the market. When the rates get below 6%. Whether it's the December swoon that we get around Christmas, whether it's the fall market, whether it's the spring market, whatever it is. So be ready for that, okay? What does it mean? If you're selling your house, sell your house right now. Or wait a year, sell your house. You'll always be in an advantageous moment to sell your house. The advantage now is that you have less inventory than you're going to have in a year. Because I think in a year, if the rates go down, buyers come back, sellers come back, we get back in regular real estate. You may not have the opportunity to get multiple offers, easier offers like you're going to have right now. Okay. Will you sell it for more in a year? Yeah, because I think home prices are going up. I think you will always be able to sell your house for more in a year than you will right now. Okay. So don't be shocked if you sell your house and in a year the price has gone up. The house that you bought, the price went up, okay? Prices go up, okay? So there's no timing the market. The prices are going up. Do you want another house or not, okay? That's how I want you to approach it. If you're looking to buy, grab a house now, okay? I did a video, my last video I did, where I answered questions, Ask Steve. It is cheaper to buy now because in the next 12 months, prices are going to go up 5 to 10% in the next 12 months. So your $500,000 house right now that you want to buy, in a year, it's going to cost you $530,000, $535,000 in a perfect world. But in a year, if the rates are in the fives, like in the low fives, you're going to have a whole lot of competition. So that $535,000 house is now going to cost you $550,000. So I want you to look at what a mortgage would cost at $500,000, okay? $500,000 a mortgage for the next year at 6 3/4, then refi in the low fives, versus if you wait and buy a $550,000 in the low fives. So $500,000 in the low fives or $550,000 in the low fives. Look at the difference in price. You're talking about hundreds of dollars a year, or $100 a month, I should say, thousands of dollars a year, tens of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. Okay? It's cheaper to buy now than it will be in a year. There are no market forces that are going to bring prices down. This time last year, there was a lot of uncertainty in the market, and I would not sit here and tell you that undoubtedly in the next year the home prices are going to go up. Couldn't do it last year because there were so many things going on with inflation and the rates and the market slowdown and whatever. Now we're just looking at a market slowdown, but home prices are going to go up. There are no houses out there. There's enough buyers to keep the market going, and everything's trending in the right direction. Is what it is. Everybody's talking about a recession. Everybody's talking about it. I'm going to sit here and wait for a recession. We've been waiting for a recession the last 2 years, folks. Okay? Stop watching the news. Start looking. Unemployment's in the threes. Are there sectors that are hurting? Absolutely. There will always be a sector that hurts. The economy on the whole, there's no recession. Could there be a recession at the end of the year? Absolutely. There could always could be a recession. Okay? Are you not going to buy a house because there could be a recession in 6 months? Or in 2 years? Or in 5 years? If you want to buy a house because it's the right financial move, this is it. I say this all the time too, and I'm going to stop here. If you can't afford a house, if you are renting right now because you can't afford the down payment because this and that, don't buy. Don't put yourself in a financial spot that you can't get into, okay? I'm never going to push somebody to buy. If you have the money, if you want to drop roots somewhere, if you've thought about buying but you think it's a bad time to buy, you're wrong. Flat out wrong. It's a great time to buy. This is your time. Get off the fence. If you're not ready to buy, do not buy. Talk to me. Talk to my lender. Come up with a plan. If the plan's that you're not going to buy for 4 years, you're not going to buy for 4 years. I'm cool with that. But if the plan is I've set money aside, I've waited, it's time to make a move, but I'm waiting for the right time. Voila! The right time is here. Or you could wait a year for home prices to go up 10%, have a whole bunch of competition when you get to it, and then you're going to pay more for the house. Ask anybody who owns a house right now. Would they like to have bought their house 10 years earlier than they did, 5 years earlier than they did, 3 years earlier than they did? I got people in my neighborhood, I bought it for $277. I got people in my neighborhood who bought their houses in the ones. And they're now in the upper fives because they got the giant houses in the neighborhood with the basement. I want that. But back then, they probably looked at it and said, ugh, $180,000. This is bull crap. Okay, don't get into that. There's no market forces right now that are going to say home prices are going down. Everything says when the interest rates get below 6, everybody's coming back. Demand's going way up. Prices are going up. The competition's going up. And you're going to wish you bought a house a year ago. There. Off my soapbox. If you have questions, if I'm wrong, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. Emails below. Hit me on the Instagram. Hit me on the Facebook. You can hit me up all over the place. I'm here. This is Steve. Good to talk to you.